You have the floor. Best of luck.
Thank you. Is it working? Is it working? Okay, fine. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So hello, my name is Mihail. Just a second, please. There's something wrong with the display. Sorry, it's okay. Okay, sorry. So, my name is Mihail, and together with Alina Kalin, Andrei Dasu, guided by Professor Dan Suciu, we formed Team Simplex. We come from Romania. Actually, we come from a region of Romania called Transylvania. But we're not here to talk about vampires and Dracula's country. We're here to talk about our project called mira, which in essence uses Microsoft Connect to make hard things easy. Now, before I pass the word to Andrei to tell you about the problems and statistics we started from, I would like for every one of you to think how easy it is to move your hand, how easy it is to reach out and grab an object, how easy it is to take your hand to your ear when you're talking on the phone, or how easy it is to use it when you're eating. These are all movements that we all find very easy, while not realizing how complicated they are and how dependent we are on them. Most about all the interactions we do every day are using our hands. We use them to do our personal hygiene, to eat, to use our computers, or even to shake hands with a friend. All movements that we all find very easy, while many people have lost this luxury due to an orthopedic, rheumatologic, or neurologic pathology that led to a temporary movement disability. Can you imagine not being able to reach out and grab an object? Can you imagine losing the coordination and dexterity in your hand, and you can't tie your shoelaces, use your mobile phones, or even eat? The recovery of a patient with such a disability is very hard and takes a lot of time. We intend to shorten this period and help the patients recover easier in an interactive way with the help of Microsoft Connect. Thus, mira stands for Medical Interactive Recovery Assistant. Andrei, please continue.
We began to gather information on what the project should need so that it could have a great impact. We've learned that in the United States, approximately 6.3 million fractures occur each year, which means 2 out of 100 people, with the most common affected the upper limb. For that, the stroke is the leading cause of severe physical disabilities among adults, annually affecting more than 700,000 people, making their day-to-day activities difficult. Upper limb usage remains weak in up to 66% cases. Unfortunately, the world does not yet take advantage of the present technological innovations, which could offer more efficient solutions to today's rehabilitation problems. To recover, patients have to go through a long and sometimes painful series of exercises that need specialized observation, which implies time and, of course, money. It is difficult to maintain patients' motivation, and often they do not receive the optimal level of therapy. Games may be effective in optimizing engagement and motivation. Nevertheless, modern medicine underlines that recovery has to be done individually, consciously, and according to the wishes of the patient. Alina, I let you continue with the solution.
Thank you, Andrei. During the development of our solution, we had in mind 4 main objectives: to support persons with temporary movement disabilities that can recover through physical exercises by creating an engaging and attractive system that adapts to their needs and preferences, while keeping the costs low so it can be accessible to everyone, and to be a real help for the medical system for both institutions and medical staff. The result was mira, Medical Interactive Recovery Assistant. mira is an interactive system of applications and games created specifically to assist the medical recovery process that reintegrates patients socially and professionally. The system uses audio and visual feedback to provide something fun and engaging for the patient's rehabilitation therapy. for the occupational therapy method by providing pleasant and meaningful activities. As a result, the patients are motivated to perform their rehabilitation exercises and, as our medical advisors say, this can reduce the recovery period with 50 to 70%. Moreover, the system offers the possibility of remote monitoring and statistical feedback about the patient's improvement. Thus, the therapist doesn't have to be present at all times, and the patient can make his exercises even at home. As a result, the system saves time and money. But let's take a close look at the application. This is the list of the most common rehabilitation exercises that we've implemented. They are recommended by our medical advisors. In the following, I will play the patient's role and Andrei will guide you through the demo.
This is mira, a WPF application which offers doctors the following benefits: patients management, appointments management, and the most important is the statistics feature, which will show the evolution of the patients regarding their recovering exercises. Opening the profile of the patient, in this case the profile of Alina, here you can see her personal data, general statistics, her appointments, and different actions. Select exercise or game. And these are the games and exercises developed by us using the Microsoft Kinect technology for monitoring patients' movements. And besides, you can observe all the movements that are involved in each of them. Let's choose an exercise that maps the rotation movement of the shoulder, which helps for the recovery of humerus fracture, clavicle fracture, shoulder pathologies, rheumatic pathologies, the most common being the scapulohumeral periarthritis. Until it is loading, I have to emphasize that a patient who is able to rotate his shoulder in two different planes, this one and this one, is considered to be recovered. Alina, please give us more details about this application.
As you can see, after the PC calibration phase, there are some points that appear on the screen, and I have to touch them, making a rotation movement. After the complete circles, this circle is enlarged as this is a progressive exercise. But the very important thing is that the application monitors the correctness of the exercise. For example, if I move my shoulder and stand in an incorrect position, it will tell me what should I do to stay in the correct position and won't let me advance to the next level unless I do the exercise correctly.
Thank you, Alina. The next exercise is named Catch It. It's important to know that actions like eating, doing personal hygiene, or dressing up are the most common ones during the life. Recovery does not only mean physical recovery, but also the social and professional reintegration, which means regaining their reflexes and easy-to-do movements. Yes. Okay. Alina?
This game also requires a calibration phase, and it consists of touching different parts of the body where a butterfly appears. For example, now it's on my elbow, and then on my shoulder, my head. So basically are the most needed movements that we do every day.
Thank you. The next type of application is a game named Bitballs, created for helping patients to regain their reflexes and is addressed for those who suffer from shoulder or elbow pathologies. At the beginning, it is easy to play, but it will become more difficult in time.
This game is adjustable to the patient's possibility of movement in order to keep the winning rate of 80%. This is very important in order to keep the patient engaged in performing the exercise and not get him bored because of always winning or frustrated because of too much failure.
Thank you. The next application that is offered by Mira and uses a Microsoft Kinect technology is also a game called phishing. This kind of application is not focused on giving doctors statistics about how many times the patient moved her arm, but gives the trajectory and with the corresponding movement speed of the patient's arm. The patient has to move the net and catch all the fish without catching the seahorses. Good job, Alina. And now you can observe the trajectory with the corresponding movement speed of Alina's arm. Thank you. Let's run the game called Cubics. Cubics was developed on the CareGamer web platform, which is our project from the last year's Imagine Cup competition, offering patients the possibility not only to recover, but also to help or play for real social cases posted by NGOs that collaborate with us. This is an example of how mira could be integrated with already existing online games. The patient has to rotate the cube at the right, left, up or down, and has to find the same image as the one in the right corner. Thank you. Let's advance to the next game, Puzzle. Puzzle was created using an SDK that allows finger detection with Microsoft Kinect. It is addressed for those whose hand or fingers were affected, for example, by a stroke, and they have to regain their accuracy or dexterity. The aim of this game is to rebuild the image.
The importance of this game is that it is adjustable to the patient's possibility of movement with the fingers, and he can play it and make the rehabilitation exercise even if he's not able to grab things and play a real puzzle game.
Thank you. Using the official SDK, using the official Kinect SDK, we have already developed an application which corresponds to an upside-downside movement of the shoulder. It is different, this application it is different than the ones presented before because the patient was replaced by an avatar which suits to children, and it brings more fun, interactivity, and motivation to get more points. An advantage that the official Kinect SDK brings is that it doesn't require the side position for calibration. Thank you. And after a couple of exercises, the doctor can go back to the profile of the patient and analyze statistics about the evolution of the patient by category and by movement. We've also added the possibility that if the doctor is not near a computer, to use a Windows Phone 7 and check the overall evolution of the patient. Check the overall evolution of the patient, how the last exercise went, an animation of the skeleton of the last exercise, and observe or modify future appointments. This is the end of the demonstration, so I'll let you, Andrei, continue with the technical part.
Okay, so we have seen it in action. It's time to see how it works. First, let's take a user who can be a doctor, a patient, or a private user at home. His or her interaction with mira takes place at the user interface, which is assured by mira Desktop, an application built using Windows Presentation Foundation that provides patient statistics and patient management. Mira Desktop also acts like a software platform containing other smaller medical applications and medical games destined for patient recovery. Each of these makes use of Microsoft Kinect, and the data coming from the Kinect device allows us to follow the patient's moves and validate them from a medical point of view. Finally, the data is sent towards the mira database, where it is stored for further use. However, Our application has to cope with different use scenarios, and that is why we use three types of SQL Server. First, we have SQL Server Compact, which comes with the application. It is easy to install and is perfect for home use. Second, we have SQL Server Standard, which can serve more than one client at the same time, and also handle large amounts of data, making it good for large hospitals. And three, we have SQL Azure, which is used for reasons of high availability and low cost of maintenance. Also, this option provides the possibility to use mira Mobile, which is a mobile user interface for doctors. Finally, mira can extend to other external applications, like games found on the web. For example, Caregamer, a website about Andrei talked about earlier. Thank you. I will let Cosmin continue with the business strategy.
Thank you. As you might have already figured out, mira has its main target customers public or private medical institutions. However, it would have been wrong for us not to think that there may be instances in which patients can and want to recover at home too. So we looked at private persons. Based on these and on the three architectures my colleague already presented, we came up with three different offers to mira. mira Simplex Edition offers patients management, simple statistics, and recovery exercises and games. It is recommended for places where there's only one Connect, like small medical institutions or at home. mira Standard Edition offers doctor's management, appointment management, and patient remote monitorization. It can be used in medium-sized medical institutions where there are several Connects and there's a need of a server database. Lastly, we have mira Complex Edition, which offers information transfer between medical institutions, global statistics, and mira Mobile. mira Complex is actually the one we've presented to you and comes with a business model of software as a service with a $15 per monthly doctor subscription. mira Standard has the price of $99 per license, not including the SQL Server Standard. And mira Simplex can be downloaded from the internet and is free of charge. As for the future of mira, we've already tested the application and we're just about to enter a clinical trial phase with 2 medical institutions from our home country. We plan on marketing mira so that it can reach as many people as possible and help as many people as possible. But on the long run, we want to make improvements, like moving all the applications you've seen with the calibration on the new SDK from Microsoft, the official SDK, because that calibration is not needed anymore. Or having 2 users on the same Connect make exercises. We plan on adding content like achievements and more visual and audio feedback for the patients to keep them engaged. Or a simple visual framework for doctors to be able to make new custom exercises. We're making a platform for you guys to upload new medical applications, obviously approved by a medical supervisor. We plan on expanding more exercises for the fingers and exercises for the legs as well. We have a lot of ideas and we can't wait to implement them. So what have we shown you? We've shown you a medical application that helps doctors help patients recover faster, easier, in a much more interactive and engaging way than ever. And as a matter of fact, we did some research and we found out that mira at the present moment can help for not 2, not 3, but at least 44 pathologies for the upper limb. These pathologies were given to us by the medical advisors with whom we came in contact to, like University Professor Dr. Ferdinand Winkowski from Germany, or Professor Alexandru Georgescu, the Chief of Plastic Surgery and Microreconstructive Surgery Department from the Recovery Hospital of our hometown, or Dr. Bogdan Baciu and Dan Kozma, both working at the Orthopedics Hospital from our hometown. However, the most helpful was Octavian Olari, physical therapist specializing in hand and upper limb rehabilitation, with whom we have met at least once a week, gave us the biggest feedback, and who is the person that inspired our motto, mira, making hard things easy. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening, and we'll be happy to answer all of your questions.
see that as the patient does exercises, you gather statistics. How are you baselining the feedback? In other words, the scoring system, I assume you have worked with the physical therapist and so on and so forth, but statistically, this has not been done before. So whether a patient reaches a certain level, whether it's good, average, not so good, what was your methodology?
Thank you for answering that question. The statistics we're gathering are based on what the doctor told us. So most of what you see came from our physical therapist, ophthalmologist with whom we have met. He told us, for example, for the rotation exercise, tell me how many times the patient can rotate his arm. Or if you saw the game with cubics, told you on caregiver, tell me how many times the patient can move his hand up, down, left, or up. Based on these, I can see in what's the easiest movement he can do and what's the hardest movement he can do. And I can recommend new exercises for the future. So we've not started, we didn't come up with a new method of gathering information. All the information we gathered is for the doctor, that the doctor asked us to gather. If the doctor comes with new statistics, we'll, yeah.
Great job, great energy across the board. How do you guys assure that the behavior that you're enforcing is good behavior versus bad? There is such a nuance in my shoulder movement as I'm rehabbing a shoulder injury, so I know. But whether the shoulders lean back, lean forward, too far extended, how is a Connect able to pick up on that really small nuanced movement to make sure you're telling somebody good when it's good instead of actually bad?
The fact of the matter is, we cannot map all the exercises. There is a large amount of exercises. The exercises that we're at the moment mapping are based on what the doctor told us. And at the beginning, we began with an accelerometer, like the Wii remote. And okay, the doctor was pleased, he liked it, but when we showed him what we can do with Connect, he was really happy.
Have you thought or discussed at all connections with social media, the desire of patients to connect with each other and form a community and give each other tips or share scores or things like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Truth is, we thought about this in the last couple of days, and we contacted through email our doctor, and we told him, can we make a leaderboard, for example, for all the patients, get engaged and so on. And he said that patients won't do that because most of these patients have a defect, a great defect. For example, their hand was amputated and then put back on. We came into contact with such a patient. And they don't want to brag about something like this. A patient who has a really, really, really bad pathology against a patient that has a simple pathology, we can't get them to interact. Because you can imagine they're sad.
Thank you.
Hi, another great project. Have you done much research on age profiles of the potential users of this and how different age profiles may find it more difficult to engage with the technology?
I'm sorry, can you hear?
So, for example, older people who are less technologically aware, is that something that you've researched?
Yeah. You should have seen the application how it looked like 3 months ago. We went with it to the doctor and he said, no, I can't use this. Make me large buttons, simple buttons that I can use. And make me tips so I can see what all the options I have. Obviously now it's in English and there's a lot of elderly people in our country that don't know me. But we're making the application as simple as possible so that anyone can use it.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much, excellent. Recovery is a combination of specific targeted physiotherapy and general fitness. Have you a strategy to encompass the parameters around general fitness in this technology or not?
Yeah, that's a good question. All that we have done, all that we have shown you, is from the medical specialist for the medical specialist. So the doctor said, do me this exercise, like the one you've seen with the balls. Do me an exercise in which the patient gets on the screen of the balls and he sees he's beating the balls. He said he's going to do the program, the schedule for the patient. He wants to have the control, and it's normal because no application will ever come across a doctor. We're only assisting the medical recovery system. We cannot replace it.
Please, do you have an idea about the amount of money, the amount of investment that we would need to start running a company today with mira?
It's a good question. We did some estimates. They're very raw. We took the data that we've shown you at the beginning with 700,000 victims that have stroke each year in the United States, or 6.3 million fractures. The fact of the matter is, we're only beginning the clinical trial phase, and because we're from Romania, we want to see how can we hit the market in Romania, because Romania is a middle-class country, and we want to see how the doctors interact and how many connects there's needed in a medical institution at first. So we're kind of early in the process of putting it out on the market. But the great entrepreneurs have told us these days that the great idea dies in 6 months. We're already 2 months, or about 3 months in it, so we have a lot of things to do.
You have 2 Connect devices down there. I take it you don't require 2, they're just there for different parts of the demo, is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah. Can you see a situation where you could use 2 Connect systems to improve performance or make the game more interesting or the precision of the detection better?
Yeah, we actually talked about that, but there's a problem at the moment. There's no PC that can handle 2 Connect. You see 2 Connects down there. We have 2 PCs hooked up right here with them. We're using 2 Connects because we used 2 different SDKs, software development kits, and the drivers for each and every one for them are different. And rather than spending time on changing the drivers and connecting the other one, we'd rather have 2 computers. But all the applications were reported on the official SDK, so that there's not going to be different driver installation.
So the next iteration of your product will use a single Connect, the Microsoft drivers, everything will work on top of that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
Talk a little bit about the integration challenges you faced. So some data is available on diverse medical systems, and some data needs to go back to the doctor's system, for example, the hospital system. How did you handle the integration issues?
I'm sorry, can you
The system integration issues between your system and the hospital system, or your system and the doctor's system, both ways.
Yeah. So you're talking about what's already on the market and how we can integrate mira with that. Server systems and so on in the hospitals. We've looked, for example, in the United States, there's health level 7, the greatest form of exporting information, patient information from one hospital to another. And we've looked the past few days, or no, not the past few days, we've researched more, because at the beginning we looked in Europe, for example, because we're from Romania, if there is something like that, if there is a unique system that gathers information. Sadly, in our country there isn't. Each hospital in Romania has a different way of storing the information. There's no unique software that does that. However, we're looking into that, and we want to make mira, like we said, easy for everyone, so that it can be installed as easy as possible on any PC, with, of course, some technical issues. For example, the Kinect requires 2 GB RAMs. The PC to have 2 GB RAMs to run.
I come from Australia, a very large country, and a lot of remote medicine. I would like to do a virtual ward round. Would your technology make that possible for me? So that I can see children who have been burnt many months before and see how they can move remotely.
There's only 10 seconds, but if it's okay, we can pass over. Our application patient remote monitorization, in the sense that you can start the application, the patient can start the application at home, and you as a doctor can see it from your home or from the hospital. We also plan on integrating a little Skype, with Skype, so that you can see the patient and you can interact with them if you're doing a great job and so on.
You've got extra time because you lost time with your video, so well done. Splendid stuff. We'll be back in half an hour's time with the next team. But for now, thank you very much.